Alright, are we ready?
Yeah.
Hit it. Roll it.
All right.
Do the thing.
Cicadas hum, grass is dry and dusty. There's been a long drought. It's the heat of summer. It's let's say 1932 is what we'll call the year. I'm too lazy to make up fantasy years. We are in the great state of Lafayette. The Abelard for-profit prison has recently had to shut down. It's gone bankrupt, and all the prisoners prisoned there are being transferred to a larger state penitentiary. All three of you are prisoners there and are being lined up to be filed onto prisoner transport buses. Who has been in jail the longest?
4 years.
2 years. Funny enough, not me.
So 4 years, 2 years.
I've probably been 4 or 5 maybe.
All right, we'll go with you. You've been in jail the longest. Where is the Abelard for-profit prison? Put it down on the map for us.
Okay. It's been so long I forget how to work Roll20.
We're getting the gang back together.
Yeah.
Learning
You
how
know
it
what?
works from the top.
You know what? We'll put it in the smack fucking dab of nowhere.
It's been so long that I've started GMing games. Whoa.
All right. Who's been in jail the least amount of time?
Well, if those have been
Oh, that was you.
me.
All right. Where is the state penitentiary you're being escorted to? Ooh, very nice, very nice. Ooh, I love it. All right. I don't have anything for the middle child this time, sadly. But
You can't even let me just draw a road. That was the route we were
okay,
going to take.
fine. No,
I was just joking.
Fine.
It's useless
No.
for me to do that.
yeah, I can't really. Yeah, because I kind of need to draw the road too. Or I'm not drawing it, but like it needs to go somewhere specific. Anyways. All right, so it's the height of summer. It's about 10 a.m. in the morning. It's quite humid, though there's only scattered clouds in the sky. And there's a convoy of about 6 or so covered trucks, I would say. Sort of like military transport vehicles. And you're all chained together wearing your black and white striped uniforms and loaded into the back of these. Was someone... Linz, were you asking something?
No.
Oh, anyways. Alright. Let's see. Let's go with character names, because you would all know each other's names. You've been in the same jail for a while. What's everyone's names?
Let's see. I would be Elliot Loomis.
Alright, vague physical description. What do you look like? What's your...
Let's see. He's probably 6'1", slim, clean shaven. It tries to keep it clean shaven. Hard to do in the chain gang prison.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of long face. We're just going with the portrait, basically. That's
Okay.
pretty accurate.
Okay. Gotcha. Did you have any nicknames? Were you known by anything in prison?
The bleeder.
The Blader. Alright. Who's next?
So I am Cormac. It is his last name. He has not revealed his first name. When pressed about it, he just kind of tries to push it aside, does not answer what it is. He has the nickname in prison Redgrave. It's the name of a city. It's the name of a place around where he grew up. He's not natively of this place.
Alright. What does he look like then?
We're gonna go by character portrait again, but you know he's kind of got a standard build. Maybe around, I'll give him height about 5'9". He's got a very intense look about him. He just kind of, you know, the way his facial expressions. He always looks. He always just has very intense eyes. Let's say. Got a bit of can do a bit of a menacing stare even when he's trying to look pleasant.
All right.
Doesn't always work in his favor.
Yeah,
And
he looks like a young. He looks like a young Robert Downey Jr.
He does.
I mean, if you open up the bio picture.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're right. Holy shit! Hit him in your fucking head.
It literally is.
Mark one for me.
Yeah, points
Oh,
to you.
What? What the hell? All right. So, Linz. What's your
I am Magnus Margrave. Again, we're gonna be lazy today, and we're just gonna go by character picture. But I'd say he's about 6 foot flat, so kind of in between the two others. And generally speaking, he keeps himself quite. What's a good word? He keeps his clothes on point. They're lazy in a neat way, if that makes sense.
Right. All right. So the three of you are chained together, shackled by your hands and ankles. You are being shuffled along in a larger chain and filed into the same truck. You're sat on hay bales that are attached to the ground by spikes sticking up out of it, or the bed of the truck, I should say. There are 2 guards, one at either end of the prisoner area where y'all are sitting, holding on to the ceiling, and another guard along with the driver in the cab of each truck. With a sputtering of engines and a plume of black smoke, the convoy sets off on the hot, miserable Lafayette summer day. So how long have you all been... We've answered how long we're at jail. How long have you been at this jail, or have you always been at this jail, or have you been moved around?
I think Elliot's been there the whole time.
That's probably true of Cormac as well.
All right.
I think Magnus is actually more of a recent transfer.
Okay. Awesome. So how did you guys behave in prison? What was your general MO? How did you go about it? Did you keep to yourself? Were you a tough guy?
I kept my head down, tried to serve my time pretty peaceably, but if anyone did try and start trouble with me, I probably did extend my sentence if anyone did try and mess with me by just retaliating way harder than I needed to.
See.
But I was pleasant and courteous to guards and staff, essentially, as much as I could be.
Bootlicker, I see.
I bootlicker indeed.
I think Elliot was pretty stoic about the whole situation. Kind of a hard look on his face. He kind of saw where he fit and then just fit there. Didn't shake any boats.
Gotcha.
Magnus flitted about, shook hands with everyone, generally made himself accessible to everyone.
Okay.
A gentleman, if you will.
A bit of a social butterfly?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right. So as the car set out, you see the landscape. The jail you were in was a fairly simple construction, all single-story brick buildings, chain fence yard. There was a row of pine trees to one side as far as the eye can see, and other than that, large fields where you were sent out to work. Farmland, mostly tobacco crop, as long as some cotton. Actually, I take that back, other way around, mostly cotton with some tobacco. But as you said out, it's much more the same. A lot of very, very flat farmland. Not too many trees. When you do see trees, they tend to be very large pine forests, very unbroken, stretching out over the long, long, dusty dirt roads. Don't see many other cars. It's maybe once every 30 minutes to another hour you'll see another car go in the opposite direction. All the drivers always avoid eye contact with y'all. So, did any of you know each other or interact during your jail time?
I think in prison, Elliot was a neutral third party, if there was ever a need for one. And people often came to him for assistance with things, being known as the Bleeder.
I'm gonna say, just based on what Magnus said, about wandering around talking to everyone. So Cormac probably did know the guy and liked him, but kept a distance. Just kind of thought, okay, he's not gonna cause any problems for me. I'm not gonna cause any problems for him.
All right.
But if he came to me and needed a hand, he'd probably help. As for Elliot Loomis, stoic, keeping to himself, yeah, Cormac doesn't create trouble where it's not needed.
Magnus is probably well aware of the other two, but not in any sort of depth, just aware of their existence, and that's that's about it. He's aware of their existence. He's just aware about everyone, basically. He knows of them and about them.
Cormac traveled to this place. He traveled to this place in the last, in maybe a year or two before he was imprisoned. So, I'm not sure how much you'd say he had reputation for traveling here. He didn't really have much time to
Right.
He got caught, so other criminals may not have known too well about him. So he was kind of a curiosity for being from so far away.
Okay. All right. So, as the convoy rolls on for a couple hours, roughly around noon, when the sun's at its hottest, there's some sort of, in the middle of a field, at a crossroads, in the middle of nowhere, fields around, there's a sort of general store, almost what you might call a bodega. The convoy stops along the road here, and the guards in the cabs go out and they order lunch, sandwiches. They seem pretty nice, pretty fresh for all the guards. The prisoners are not fed. After the guards have eaten and had some sodas to drink, the convoy sets off on its way again. All right, so I want each of you to so Cormac, you're not from around here. The other two, where are you from? Are you natives of Lafayette?
No, Magnus comes from outstate,
How
from
long?
the eastern direction, quite far. A bit of a travel, this one.
An East Coaster. How long have you been in Lafayette then?
A couple of years, not too long.
All right. And how about you, Elliot?
What's the biggest, most expensive town in Lafayette?
New Desiree.
Yeah, I think he would have been in New Desire.
All right. It's just gonna be called New Desire, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll say New Desiree if I feel like it.
When
Alright.
you least expect it, we'll pronounce it right.
I'm the kind of person who says garage if he feels like it, which is often.
Ugh.
Got a garage band.
What's wrong with saying garage? It's
Garage.
no garage.
Here in my garage. So you can't say here in my garage. It doesn't work. You can't Ty Lopez that.
I don't want to. I want to say garage. I'll take that loss.
All right. So, as the convoy does set out a bit further, the landscape changes a bit. Things get slightly more uneven. There's a few more trees. You see some like old growth deciduous trees, a lot of Spanish moss hanging off them, with increasing frequency as you start to head in a southwestern direction. What is the worst thing that happened to each of you while in jail?
It's a good question.
I'm gonna say I might actually no, I'm not gonna go that far. I was gonna say redo the thing and transfer, but no, I'm not gonna do that. But for someone who I had tried to, one of my bounties essentially at one point was brought into the same jail, and we had a run-in before I got caught. Ooh. And he had friends. He had more friends than I did. So some point in jail, I got attacked, stabbed in the leg. Guards got to them before I got stabbed, before they stabbed anything vital, and most of them spent the rest of the time just isolated, taken away from us. But there was a group of people who did. Basically, I got prison shanked at one point.
Nice.
And I've got a nice scar on my leg to show for it. And maybe that might come up again. Maybe have a bit of a bad leg from it, but probably not the worst.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I think Elliot was forced to kill somebody, ordered by the warden.
Ooh.
Someone was causing trouble for the warden, and the state forced Elliot to put him down.
Forced him to bleed him.
Nice. I like that. And Magnus.
Someone recognized Magnus from his past and became belligerent. He had to have an unfortunate accident.
Ooh. I see. I meant to ask this one earlier, actually. So, is it publicly known, like in the prison? Is it, does everyone know what you're in for? Have you been open about that? Have you perhaps lied about that?
I never told anybody, but everybody knows.
What are you in prison for? Or in jail for?
The mysterious death of some high-ranking official.
I see.
So, my character in the old country was a criminal of a bit more renown. He moved to a lesser version of what he did. Here, it is known that he was a bounty hunter, which did get him a rough time with other inmates.
Right.
But it is kind of known what he was brought in for, which was essentially having a gunfight in a public place. He didn't want to be in that situation, I might add. That was just the way the chips fell.
Alright.
And... Oh, no, you were going to say something?
No. Go ahead.
Magnus was arrested and put away on suspicion of murder, but they could never find anything to pin him down. But you know what red tape is like, so he's still been in the prison.
Alright, so as you progress a bit further down, as you start getting near the river, things get a lot more shady, the ground gets more uneven, there are noticeable hills and inclines and the things of the sort, and the area gets much more wooded. There are now large, huge oak trees with Spanish moss everywhere. It's thankfully shadier, but it's somehow even more humid as you approach here. And additionally, it almost doesn't just seem to be the shade. The sky does seem to be growing slightly darker. There are definitely more clouds in the sky than there were up at the jailhouse. So, who? Let's see. Who has the longest sentence?
Ooh,
Hmm.
mine is a life sentence.
Ooh.
No,
Anyone
there's very
beat
little
it?
topping that. Unless I have a few life sentences. I don't. I'm gonna say
Well, if you're younger though and have a life sentence.
that's true. I'm gonna say my guy had maybe 10 years left of his sentence. Maybe 10. Nah. I'm gonna say 20-year sentence. Because it's just, you know, he had a few counts on him.
All right.
But yeah, he didn't. They couldn't pin him to anything so grave as murder, essentially.
All right. So, Elliot though. But so Magnus, I'm assuming you don't have a longer sentence than Elliot.
No, he's probably just booked in for like 5 years or so because they
Gotcha.
just needed a place to hold him, basically.
Gotcha. So, Elliot, while you were in prison, you heard a rumor. What was that rumor?
I heard a rumor that the state penitentiary is actually rerouting funds for some government official.
Ooh, that's spicy.
Ooh. Very nice. Very nice. So, I believe Cormac has the next biggest sentence. While you were in jail, you saw something that you weren't supposed to see, but no one knows you saw it. You know, you secretly observed something. What did you secretly observe?
I saw the guards were moving weapons out of the prison. They were selling them to an unknown party.
Okay. And with Magnus, you made some connection while you were in prison. What is that? Who is that connection to?
Say that again. I lost.
Oh,
A second.
while you were in prison, you made a connection of some sort.
Ah.
What is that connection?
I discovered some information on the head of the prison, and now I have that information to hold over him when the time comes. So I'm connected with the head prison officer.
All right.
No, is there a chief?
We
Prison
can
chief.
roll with that. All right. Speaking of rolling, the trail rolls along, and the sky does get grayer. You hear rumbling thunder, and the patter of rain begins to fall. As you pass, you see several abandoned shacks in the forest, just wooden houses that haven't seemed to have anyone living in them for many, many years. Shoot, what was my next question? We got one more. Oh, right. Put somewhere on the. I want each of you. You can take a turn to just put a location on the map. Just somewhere where your character has a personal connection to. Somewhere you've been before. Can be anywhere you want.
I'll go. So, I might have to ask you a question for just kind of some clarification on this.
Go ahead.
But I'm gonna put my location. I'm gonna put my location here.
Okay.
It's a tiny little kind of ramshackle town. Wooden huts built along the riverside. A few fishermen knocking about. What is the? How do people see gambling in this state, in this time, in this place?
It's depending on where you go, it's pretty common. There's a lot of gambling in New Desiree.
Okay.
A lot of riverboat gambling, stuff like that. That being said, certain people, especially a lot of more Eastern orc type folks, tend to look down on gambling. But that's from a more eastern people. The Lafayette natives tend to be much more friendly to gambling.
All right, let's put a little twist on this place then, because we're going to say illegal gambling den. But let's just say this is kind of a little town sprung up where Eastern folk who don't have such scruples go to gamble without being in a big place. It's kind of secret in a way. From, it's kind of hidden from prying eyes, essentially. And it's a good place to get information. And when I was in this place, this is where I got a few of my first jobs. I did a few things. So let's say there's one or two people who owe me a favor here. Where that be most like just information, not monetary reward or, lodgings or some such. But
Gotcha.
This was one of the first little towns that I got a foothold in Lafayette. And I'm gonna have to think of a name for it.
Take your time. In the meantime, Magnus or Elliot, name a place. Slap that sucker on the map.
You got anything, Austin?
Yeah, I got something.
All right.
Okay, so up here on the Bicer River is where Elliot had his first professional death in a small town.
All right. Do you have a name or anything?
No, but I can go make one up.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. What would be just say Eastern folk, but I don't know what the mixture of this town would be. Maybe a few native Lafayette folk who use it as a fisherman town and don't really care, but people from other parts.
There's a point. I know I've talked about it before the session. Well, actually, we'll go back over it once Linz goes and names a place. Actually, I'll let you name a place first. Linz?
There it is. Tail. We'll call it Tail. Tale.
Right.
Or if you're feeling French, Tale.
There's a lot of French here. I have marked the literal tail end of the bottom of the coast.
Yeah.
A little place called Beggar's Cove, home to smugglers and miscreants of all kinds, and that's Magnus's go-to place for certain sources and things.
Gotcha.
I named my place Sui.
Suis.
Sui.
Sweet.
Yeah, Suis.
All right, so I know I've talked about it before the session, but to have it on recording and just so a refresher. So the land of Lafayette was originally way back hundreds of years ago. This whole continent was mostly populated by, this whole part of the world, at least, not necessarily the whole continent, but this whole region was originally populated by halflings. But then both the Orc and Elf empires had a big colonizing spree. And this part of the world was colonized by the elves, mostly northern elves right here, though a lot of southern elves immediately to, around the area. But this was historically very, very heavily colonized by the elven society, and that still reflects a lot of the places are still elven in naming, very big elf populations, or at least half elves. Orcs were the other big colonizers and recently have really taken over. The larger country as a whole is mostly run by orcs. The vast majority of presidents, I think all the presidents really, have been orcs. No, maybe a couple elves in there, but a very, very orcish society. The East Coast is much more orc-controlled. Estrella to the west was historically a elven society. It was originally its own country, but orcs have almost completely taken it over in more modern times. And orcs are sort of the power in place here. It's more new money. People from out east have been settling along here for the orcs. Then there are also humans. Humans and dwarves. Dwarves were mostly valued for their labor, and there's quite a few dwarf immigrants too in more recent times. dwarves are hardy, hardier than humans and good at work, and have very much formed like the lower rungs of society, are very poor, looked down upon. As are humans. Humans, there have been very large masses of human immigrants within the past 50 years or so, in big swells, and there's been a big, massive swell in human population. There's always been a lot of dwarves and humans in Lafayette compared to a lot of states, but it's really taken off over the past few years. And orcs and elves, though there's tension between the two, unanimously tend to look down upon humans and dwarves. Round ears, collectively, are sort of sneered at and seen as inferior by the more blue-blooded elves and orcs. And that's the general... At the prison you were at, Abelard, was it? Yeah, Abelard. Mostly human makeup, but definitely, like several orcs, quite a few dwarves, elves, like pretty much, but a human majority, we're going to say. The guards and warden were unanimously orcs.
Nice.
Now, speaking of, the convoy you're in, all the guards are orcs, pretty unanimously overweight to various degrees, shaved heads, wide-brimmed hats, wearing very dark-tinted sunglasses, though you can tell, orcs generally have better than average night vision, but even so, as the sky's growing darker and darker, and it is starting to grow dark now as the rain does intensen, might make it a little hard for some of them to see.
I actually got to ask, just what are they carrying weapons to keep an eye on prisoners?
That is a very good point. Both guards all the guards have a 6-shooter strapped to their hip. Additionally, the two in the back with you, the one towards the front is carrying a Tommy gun, and the one towards the back is carrying a shotgun.
Okay, I wasn't expecting a Tommy gun in that respect. So they're loaded. I guess that's what a private prison will get you.
Well, you need
Even if
some
it's
sort of
shutting
rifle.
down.
Need some sort of long-range ordnance.
Tommy gun is... Oh, never mind.
Yeah. So, how are you guys acting on the ride? At this point, it's pouring rain. The sky's gotten dark. There is quite a bit of thunder. You can hear the wind in the trees. The dirt road you're on is swiftly turning to mud. So how have you guys been feeling this trip? How have you guys been acting on the trip?
Honestly, pretty dour spirits, but the rain and thunder is actually vaguely nostalgic for Cormac. It's actually brightening his mood a little bit.
Glum. Here, it's one word, just glum.
Glum.
Magnus is peacefully humming away and looking out the back flap to the pouring rain.
All right. At one point, as you cross along the road, your truck sort of screeches to a halt. A whole herd of deer and other such animals are, stampeding across the road in a clear hurry. You even see a couple of people in there, couple dwarves and 1 or 2 humans mixed in, wearing very shabby clothes, running like mad across the road. They are running northwards.
I look southwards.
You can't see very far into the dark, woods. Actually, so you're I'm gonna say you're on the side where you have to sort of crane your neck to look around, and immediately one of the guards comes over and hits you with the butt of his. This is a Tommy gun one, and just sort of grunts, "Osford." But you can tell both the guards are kind of uneasy by what they're seeing.
Can I actually roll a discern realities check?
You can roll discern realities.
I want to be the first person to make a roll. I look at dungeon. We really need to get that big image.
Oh,
I was just thinking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need that. I don't have those.
I'll send you a couple. I think I've got a couple saved.
I can put them in the handouts.
Sure, I'll actually put them in the Discord right now, but I'm gonna roll a whiz check and then we'll deal with that as it comes.
Yeah.
9, I get 1 question.
Too
That's what I'm
slow.
going to need to pull up the thing.
I already got it.
Yeah.
You already got it. Nice.
Oh, good
But-
grief, what is that maths there?
Alright, so, with 1 question, You know what? I am actually just going to ask what is about to happen.
What is about to happen? The weather is going to get much worse.
So, they're running away from some kind of natural disaster, am I to assume?
Something like that.
Okay.
Oh,
Well,
do you share that? Do you share that with the rest of us?
if I'm sat next to, I will say I probably do share it with the prisoners sat in front of and behind me, just basically just kind of whisper, you know.
well, I'm gonna say the 3 of your backs are to the. Keep in mind the 3 of you are chained to each other. You 3 are sitting next to each other.
That's kind of my point. Is like share it
yeah.
to the closest people in case it's those 2. But
Alright.
yeah.
Here, I'll spout lore on the weather here.
All right.
Get the second roll.
Nice.
Oh, there you go. Wait, so this is. I have to tell you something useful, don't you?
Interesting and useful.
So, it has been a big drought, but you know that is not with weather like this, that's about to break. This drought has probably been caused by sort of a weird pressure system where all the clouds and moisture have been sucked out to sea, and it's all coming back at once. A big old storm is coming in, and with a vengeance. Essentially a hurricane, or not quite a hurricane, a tropical storm is setting in.
Storm's coming, boys. Keep your heads low.
The other orc, not quite hearing you, or just yells, "Shut up!" from the back of the truck. So you go, oh, and Elliot, Magnus, how are you guys fit? How have you guys been feeling this trip? Have you guys been getting up to any mischief? Have you been just keeping your heads low? How do you feel?
Nope. Head down, hands clean.
Gotcha.
They have guns. We're chained together. I'm not causing a ruckus.
How about you, Magnus?
Magnus is still just sitting there humming away. He doesn't seem to give a rat's ass that he's chained up.
Across from you, on the other side of the truck, there is sort of a middle road that's sort of somewhat obscuring your view. But on the far side, there's a prisoner. You see, he's a young fellow, can't be more than 20. And he's a real sickly person. You don't really know what he's in for, but, definitely nothing hard. He's always been a chump. And the rain's... You guys are lucky. The rain is slanted at a very southward direction right now. And so you guys are mostly dry, but the other side's getting soaked. And he's already drenched. And he's like... He asks the guard, please, we need to get out of this rain. Yeah, I'm going to catch my death of pneumonia. He was always kind of a wuss. And then the Tommy gun guard walks over to him. I said, shut up, and just starts hammering on him with the butt of his Tommy gun until he is just sniffling, silent. But both the guards are very clearly on edge by this. This wasn't expected. As a matter of fact, after doing that, the guard with the Tommy gun goes over to the other side and leans around to, whisper to the driver in the convoy. As the weather steadily grows worse. Do we have any other rolls or declarations we want to make?
No, I think we'll wait.
I guess I look over the guy who just got battered to see. I guess to say how he's holding up would just not be quite the way of putting it, but just to check if he's going to survive that beatdown if he went too hard on him.
So, it's hard to see because you're trying to look through a row of passengers, but at one point as you go over a bump in the road, perfectly timed with a strong lightning flash, it's very dark by this point, you can see, well, you can't quite see his face, his head's hanging down, but you do see, just a lot of sort of mucousy, thick blood sort of hanging, dripping from his face, and he seems pretty limp.
Oh. Oh dear.
Anyway, so as you go on, the winds are very intense now. You can feel it shaking the truck, making it hard to move. But at the very least, you're in the forest, so things aren't too bad. And the guards are clearly on edge. Like they're not just nervous, or the weather's making them very, very nervous. It's dark. You're in the middle of the woods. There's not a lot of other civilization around. And even if they have guns, they're still outnumbered, and they're not liking, they do not want to stop for the night here in the middle of these woods. What's more, you get the impression they tend to be. Here's a bit of history. The guards, they do tend to be superstitious, and there are rumors that these woods is haunted, and they don't want to be caught in them. Anyways, as the path goes along, or the road slowly more and more turns to mud, you come across a bridge crossing a river. It's normally a fairly deep gulch. You can tell the banks are steep, but this river is flooded almost up to the bottom of the bridge, and it is gushing white water. It's about to flood over. Bits of water are getting on top of the bridge, and it's a rickety wooden bridge, and the top of it is soaked very slick with water. The convoy halts here for a while, and the guard in the driver's cabin gets out and walks forward to the head of the convoy. You guys are the third car back, or the third truck back, to discuss something. The rest of the prisoners are looking around, uncertain as to what's going on.
I gotta ask then, are we the third and final in the convoy, or is there something behind us?
No, there are a total of 6 trucks in the convoy.
We're near center.
Yes.
Alright.
We're near center.
Okay, well, I mean, not that I was planning on making moves anyway, but yeah, that shuts down a lot of things. But I am gonna say as well, I guess this is a question I realized I should have asked way earlier. What are the state of the chains that we're in? Like, sturdy, good, poor?
Not the best, but pretty sturdy. These are thick, heavy chains. Like these,
So even if we weren't chained per se, just the cuffs would be weighing us down.
And no, you could still move in them. Like you were able to get in the thing, but these aren't something you could snap with human strength. You would need tools to break these chains.
Hmm. And yeah, none of us would have something like that on hand.
Yeah.
Here's a question. How thoroughly checked were we when we were escorted to the old prison and onto the trucks?
There's a good question. I should have asked this. All right, so, I want each of you to roll dex.
Darn it.
Yeah, that's what I wanted.
All right. So, well, first off, Magnus and Cormac, you guys have been able to, throughout your prison life, been able to smuggle one trivial item, not a weapon, or like maybe a picture, maybe a very cheap locket of no value. Something that the guards, wouldn't really take, but, just something maybe of sentimental value to you, maybe something they don't understand the value of. Something like that. What do you guys have?
I just wrote it down a few times, but yeah, a coin from back home.
That's sweet. How about you, Magnus?
I'm actually going to add that to my inventory.
Yeah, do that. You guys don't have anything else in your inventory but the shackles you're chained in and your prison guard.
Just giving it the tags sentimental.
Oh.
It's a tag.
I'll say, in a very sort of grubby, mottled pouch, like a water skin kind of deal. Very small, and something that you could tuck into your shoe. Is just a picture.
Ooh.
There's a
What's the
photo.
picture of?
It's got a picture of. It's a family picture of a man and his wife and child, sort of standing in front of their homestead. But it's faded. It's been water damaged a bit. It's very hard to make out exactly their features and such.
All right. Cool. Now, Elliot, you have managed to smuggle something on your person. Something that a prisoner could reasonably be expected to have. You know, you don't have like, you know, a machete or, you know, something, but you have something of a bit more value. If the guards found this, they would definitely immediately confiscate it. But you've managed to smuggle it. What is it?
I swiped a scalpel out of the medical facility.
Nice.
Dangerous.
Sharp.
All right. So there you are. After far too long of the guards deliberating and arguing, you hear shout. You can just barely make out shouting in the distance, you know, under the rain. And the storm's growing worse. The sky's growing darker and darker, and you can hear that river just surging and surging. You can occasionally hear the creak of the wood. All right, but so the guard, your guard eventually comes back, you know, talks to the driver. You can sort of hear him swear, and then the trucks start up again and start slowly, one by one, moving forward. You see the first truck very, very slowly, tentatively cross the bridge. It's, you know, going slowly. It stops a couple times because of, you know, the wet, slick bridge and, you know, not very stable, shaking around a bit. But it creeps to the other side fine. You know, there's clearly murmuring from the prisoners at this point that, like, you know, this is a bad idea. We shouldn't be doing this. And for once, the guards aren't saying anything. They're not telling people to shut up. Or if they are, it's very half-heartedly. They themselves are clearly nervous. The second truck in the convoy crosses. This one faster, though. You know, the first one went by okay. You know, maybe the driver's trying to show off a bit. Maybe he's just more confident after having seen the first truck. And he crosses the bridge without really any problem. You know, he goes with a bit more speed, which almost seems to help. Almost rushing across the bridge. And then it's your truck's turn. You begin to cross at a fairly reasonable pace, but as you get down a bit, you feel the truck skitter and slide. A big gust of wind comes and slides it on the water, and you bump up against the railing on the southern side of the bridge, or on the, eastern side of the bridge. Let's say, by the way, not that you guys would necessarily know this, but this is happening about here. So the truck shudders to a halt. You know, one of the two guards swears quite vulgarly, and the other one, you know, looks to the cabin. The driver seems shaken, but he's, you know, shaking it out, grabbing hold of the wheel, putting the truck back in gear. Oh, there you go. And you guys are setting out again. But as the truck starts to set up, you hear a rumbling in the distance, like thunder almost. Let's see, you guys would be looking. Yeah, and you guys are looking. No, yeah, you guys. It's coming from somewhere behind you. Some loud, huge noise. Almost sounds like the galloping of horses, or, you know, again, thunder in the mountains.
Can I spout or attempt to spout law on this noise?
Okay.
Nope.
No. Anyone else want to say anything or take a peek or anything?
I'll take a peek. I'll take a damn peek. Should that be a discern realities, or should that be a...
You can just look around if you want.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Yeah, I'd turn around. I don't think the guard's going to stop me at this point.
Yeah, just before you do, you see, you know, one of the guards distracted, looking at the driver. The one in the rear, though, with a shotgun. You see his shotgun sort of drop down by his side, and he's looking at something behind you, and he just, mother of God. You turn your head and just see a wall of white thundering water, at least 2 stories high, just surging down. A massive, or not quite 2 stories high, 1.5 stories high. But up to the treetops, knocking down trees on its way down the water. This surging, thundering wall of nature's fury, bearing down on you.
Well, I'm just gonna say my first action, just so to establish a little bit about Cormac, is to scream, and maybe let everyone else. That scream should let everyone else know about the ensuing problems.
All right, so you are letting other people know.
Yeah, via screaming.
You know what? Magnus, Elliot, roll Dex.
Okay.
This is Cormac's scream.
Do I not get to roll Dex?
No, you already see it. So the other two start to turn their heads, but Elliot, Magnus, before you two can turn your heads to look. Oh wait, that
Magnus...
was the wrong. Never mind.
Yeah, so, Magnus got a 9.
Elliot is he's doesn't even get to see what's happening. Magnus, just as you turn your head out the corner of your eye, you see a wall of white, feel wet spray on your face, and then all of you hit like a freight train. You've never been hit with such force in your life. Just all of a sudden, you're traveling at like 40 miles an hour. You're surrounded by water, occasionally getting a gasp of air, but that's it. It's pitch black. You can't see anything. You can't tell what's up or down. Just black, noisy, screaming chaos. The only way you can tell when you're in or out of water is occasionally the sound is muted from all the water, and when you're out, you just hear screams and drowning. And this goes on for a while. The truck is tossed throughout the river. Actually, you know what? Each of you roll con.
Time to die before the campaign even starts.
Where's my all these 9s?
Oh, God.
Oh, jeez, you guys.
Well, I'm going to mark XP at least. Even though I might not need it.
So, Elliot, Cormac, as the water, splashes around you can feel your lungs, and it gets harder and harder to breathe. Through the thundering chaos of the stream, consciousness quickly slips away. Actually, Cormac, as poorly as you rolled, something hits you. You hit your head on a rock.
Oh, jeez.
Or a rock or a poster or something that instantly knocks you out. Elliot just goes under from oxygen deprivation pretty quickly. Magnus, you cling to consciousness a bit more. You realize you can feel the weights on, Ooh, here's a question. What order are you guys in? The 3 of you are chained together. Who's in the middle? Who's on the right? Who's on the left?
I think Magnus should be in the middle, to be honest. Just with the whole social butterfly thing, it's thematically appropriate.
That works.
I'm okay with that.
Who takes left? Who takes right?
I'll take left.
And I got right.
All right. Interesting. So, Cormac has his left hand free, and Elliot has his right hand free. Well, relatively free. I mean, it's still chained, but have more freedom of movement. Anyways. But so, Magnus, you as well sort of start to lose consciousness. You think you do, at least. You certainly lose track of time. Before eventually, at one point, you're aware of yourself coming to a halt in the mud. Water surging around you. But you eventually slip off there. Unmoving, lying in the mud.
So, has the truck gone on without us, so we've slipped out the back?
At this point, you can't tell. You're not aware enough of your surroundings.
Right, very well.
Well, hours later, possibly the next morning. You're not. It was hard to keep track of time after a while. You were nervous, on edge. As dark as it was hard to tell if it was night. Right now, though, at first it's not immediately clear. It's either sort of around dusk or morning. You can't immediately tell. You're not sure which bank of the river you're on. You don't know which way is which. And you can't even really see the sun currently. Magnus, you wake up. you're lying in the mud, sort of face down, head turned to your side so you can just barely breathe, lying in the mud on the riverbank. Caked in mud, in fact. What do you do?
He gets, like, I raise my head above the mud with a gasp of air, spluttering the bit of water that got in my lungs, and spend about 5 minutes coughing the rest of it out because there's mud in there as well.
It is that you're lying your torso is face down, so you're sort of craning your neck around. It is a bit awkward and uncomfortable to try and get air and keep your face out of the mud.
Yeah. Can I lift try to sort of push myself up? My arms trapped beneath me.
Ooh, you try and stand up. And at first it goes all right, but then immediately you're pulled down by chains, and you realize you are still chained to the bodies of Elliot and Cormac. You're not sure if they're alive or not currently.
Can I? This would be. Oh, okay. Well, maybe that's not a check. I'll check on them and
To see if they're alive.
see how they're faring.
Yeah, you know, as much as you can, like sort of listen, and you can definitely hear them breathe, paying attention. You do see their chests, slowly falling. It's a bit, you can't really get a pulse, being
With my hands
the way you
crossed,
are, but you can tell they are in fact alive currently.
I take a look around me and try to get stock of our situation, where we are and all
All
that.
right, you are on a muddy riverbank. Leaves and branches are lying everywhere. Many of the trees have been stripped bare. There was clearly very recently a flood here, but it also very quickly went down. There are puddles everywhere. Everything is covered in mud. You see wreckage around you. Not too far away, you see an axle from a truck sticking like halfway out of the mud. You see wooden panels everywhere, including one that does read Aberlard Jail or Aberlard Prison, sorry. Sort of embedded in the mud, sitting across from you. You see, roll a d6. 3. All right, looking around, you can see 3 bodies lying in the mud. You're not sure about 2 of them, but judging by the fact that one is like half buried in mud from, only the legs sticking out, you're very sure they're dead. You can't tell at the moment if the other 2 are. Roll a d3, twice, keep the lowest result. So just roll 2 d3s.
Oh, okay.
Oof.
Oof.
Snake
All right.
eyes.
So,
Trying to be clever with my dice rolls, but
no, yeah, they're all prisoners like yourselves. I'll ask you, do you recognize any of them, or 2 of the ones that you can see their face?
yeah, I recognize them, having sort of wandered around to their area.
Well, yeah, I suppose you would recognize them, but do you know either of them?
Never really interacted with them in much depth, so how they'd react, what kind of personalities they have, I don't know too well, so I don't know exactly how they'd react to situations and stuff.
All right. I actually take back what I said. One of the 2, so one of the ones lying in the ground. Yeah, I'm immediately retracting this. I remember why I did it this way. The one half buried in mud is a prisoner, and one of the others is a prisoner. But further up the bank, you can see a guard lying face down in the mud.
Okay.
The revolver is still on his hip. You're unsure if his larger gun is still around, or if he even has a larger gun.
Okay.
At this angle, you cannot see. What do you do?
I try to rouse my companions.
Ooh, all right. Who do you rouse first? And how do you rouse them?
Would I be able to sort of make a medically like first aid kind of who to rouse first, who would be kind of the best to rouse. Gonna make a decision on that, or should I just?
I mean, Elliot's older.
That's true.
I tried to rouse Cormac first.
All right, how do you rouse
The
him?
sprightly youth.
I prod him a lot. Very, high tech medical training there.
Pick up a stick and you just prod me with it.
Yeah, just prod you with your end of the chain.
All right, Cormac. Suddenly, you are slowly and blearily roused to consciousness. You're in pain, you're wet, you're cold, you're muddy, you're gritty, and someone is poking you repeatedly.
I just kind of look as... I guess I have to cough up water. Oh, what? Yeah. So I just kind of roll over and do that, if I'm assuming I'm on my front after all that happened.
Okay, so you say you roll over. We're gonna go ahead and keep with that. You're a bit bleary. You don't have, the mental faculties quite yet to question your actions. First instinct, go. You obviously can't roll in the opposite direction because you're chained, so this does mean you essentially roll over onto Magnus. Not really paying attention to what you're doing.
Well, at the very least, I'm going to pull him down by doing that.
Well, he can't stand if you guys are also on the ground.
Oh,
the chains aren't that long.
All right,
So he would also
let's rewind that. But anyway, I just try and basically, spit up what I need to. Quite violently, quite painfully. And then I look around for a few moments, and reality kind of, I was the first one who saw the wave, so it all comes back to me. And I look up and I just say, I wish I was still on the convoy. And then
Magnus laughs a bit and said, "Good, you're alive."
Yep, seems that way. I kind of look at the third person on our chain. How's he doing?
Magnus gets to prodding Elliot as well.
All right, Elliot, you are woken from your sweet slumber. You are cold and wet and gritty and in pain. Oh, Cormac, I forgot. You have a splitting headache. The back of your head hurts like a bitch.
No shit.
Yeah.
I got whacked there.
Yeah.
I do actually. Okay, I rub the back of my with my free hand. If I can rub the back of my head, I just check and see if there's any blood.
You can get it. No blood that you can tell.
Okay.
Just like it's really tender though. You touch it and immediately wince in pain.
All right. So after clearing his lungs, hacking coughs, he doesn't really move, but if you look closely, he's doing the extremities test, right? He's like, okay, wiggle the toes, wiggle the feet, wiggle the legs, wiggle the hands.
Very nice.
So you're being the most logical about this whole thing.
Yeah.
Seems to have the most experience with this kind of thing.
A little bit. But then, once everything's good, kind of looking around, says, well, that was one way to do it.
It was bloody awful. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah,
you're alive. More than can be said for other people.
That's true.
And I guess we're free.
Well,
Magnus looks down at his chains and then just looks right back at Cormac.
Freer.
Hey, any of you two know how to pick a lock?
Wasn't exactly my specialty.
Magnus kind of... Yeah, okay. You got anything long and pointy?
My boot. Check my boot. And I'm lying, try to get my feet basically over to his face somehow.
we do some weird sort of
So that's
twister.
You can do it, but this is going to require a decent. You're going to have to like sort of get up and then sit down the other way and bring your feet up. First we're just standing up. Let's get a dex roll from all of you.
Oh yeah, the jiggly ones.
Hey.
Hup.
All right, so yeah, Magnus gets up. You two sort of, struggling a bit, but guided by Magnus, are helped up to your feet. And then you can, sit down, get your shoes. You want to get your boot over to...
Yeah. I tell him, right boot, it's a fake heel. Just pop it off.
Magnus does so and peers inside.
Yeah, and kind of as you do it, a scalpel slides out of the bottom.
You might do the trick. Magnus picks it up with his hands and starts attempting to pick the locks, basically.
As you do, the lock... Wait, which lock are you picking first? It's
Elliot's
immediately on
lock.
you.
Elliot's lock because his feet are closest.
All right, Elliot, as like the scalpel goes into the lock and starts poking around, immediately you feel your wrists growing warmer and warmer, even uncomfortably hot.
I'm gonna spout lore on that real quick.
All right.
You spout the law.
Spout
Spouted.
lore. It would appear you were unlucky enough for this journey to be put in enchanted shackles. These are pretty expensive and hard to get your hands on. Which, it's surprising, especially knowing the prison was strapped for cash, but the guards were apparently really paranoid about escape attempts, or maybe they were just eager to punish attempted escapees. If anything other than the intended key goes into these locks and starts poking around, it will make the shackles grow hotter and hotter until they quickly start to burn and scald the flesh, quite severely. They can reach about 300 degrees.
Damn. All right.
After
So,
tinkering.
As I start to notice them heat up, I'm like, whoa, hold on. Stop that.
What's happening? What's wrong?
All right, look, I've seen this before. They are enchanted, if you will. Just hand me that back. He kind of sticks his hand out for the scalpel.
Magnus kind of lets out a little sigh and groan, like, it's never that easy, is it? And he passes the scalpel back.
Yeah, I probably hide it in a sleeve if we're wearing like longer sleeves.
Oh yeah, no, you're all wearing fairly baggy prison clothes, black and white horizontal stripes. Not the nicest material, rough, but caked in mud. You can hardly recognize the stripes now. It's pretty much just like brown, blackened fabric. One of you, let's say Cormac, still probably has a little prison cap. The other two probably washed off.
Cormac just kind of flicks his fingers, just like, Elliot, right? Elliot, that was your name.
Yeah.
So how do we get him off then?
Look, basically we have to find the right key.
Oh.
Otherwise, these aren't coming off.
Cormac just looks around, looks to see if he can see any of the remaining trucks intact. He hadn't actually caught up to them yet.
Yeah, there's a prison
Okay,
guard
so
right
to
over there.
reiterate, there is one guard, there's one guard lying face down, up the bank. There's another prisoner not too far from you, and another one half buried in the mud, who you can't quite see. If you look around some more, actually, Cormac, roll a d4 for me. Ooh.
Whoa.
So you look on the opposite bank of the river. Roll a d2 for me.
Flip a coin.
Ooh, nice. All right.
High roller.
Wow. Yeah, look at these rolls. On the opposite bank, you see 4 bodies. Not sure if they're living or dead. 2 of them on this side are guards, and one of them you can definitely see what appears to be a shotgun next to him. The other one you think might have been, you recognize actually as by his like, even for the guards, unusual obesity, as being the one that was in your driver cabin on the opposite bank of the river.
I point him out to the group and I say, might be our first port of call. That lad over there.
Yeah, but how are you going to get across that river?
And that's the point. Even if the river has
issue.
gone down, it is still high and it is still surging fast. You're not sure exactly how deep it is. The river is cloudy from all the mud and silt, and there's, quite a bit of debris floating through. At one point, you see a tree float down the river that you very much know, that's a big tree to be in that river. You don't know how deep it is or exactly how bad the undercurrent is.
There's a prison guard in that direction. We should check him first and see if he's got anything on him before we try to get across that river.
Alright, let's try this again. Let's try and get over there.
Wait, so the one you're going to
the one on our side of the river. Yeah. The more let's get over there was more in reference to the difficulty of us all being chained together rather than the river.
So it takes a bit to get used to. Especially you're like wading through this mud. You're sinking like well past your ankles in this mud, and the chains are dragging. It takes you some time to get over there. Especially you're not quite used to moving quite like this. But you eventually do. Do you stop by either of the other prisoners on your way? They're both closer than the guard.
Let's inspect them, I'd say, just to kind of see if they're alive at the very least.
Alright, so the first one you cross is the one who's lying face up. As you get close to him, he's very clearly dead. His eyes are open and, staring blankly at the sky, mouth agape and filled with water. Skin is already sort of pale and clammy.
Okay.
Do you try and search the body or anything? Or do either of you have any connection with this person? Magnus didn't particularly. Do either of you? I'll let you decide that.
I got something if you don't, Snake.
I have something, but it's very mean-spirited. Do you wanna take yours?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So Elliot kind of stops right as we're looking at this guy, and despite the bloated features, Elliot remembers him. He saved his life once. He had to intervene in a fight at the last prison.
Oh.
And I'm gonna say, do you want me to reveal what mine would have been?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
He was one of the people involved in my shanking.
Oh, that would be good if those are both true.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna make mine true as well.
Yeah.
I don't vocalize.
Oh, here's a question: which happened first?
I'm gonna say mine happened first.
So Elliot helped save someone who was involved in shanking you. Do you guys know about this? Is this maybe a slight tension, or is this something, all's fair and love? How do you guys feel about this, if you're even aware of it?
Should we be aware of it? How do you feel about it?
I don't mention anything. I probably just try to reach and close his eyes.
I'm gonna say you do that, you maybe get up and then I just spit on him. So it's wordless. It's just,
Yeah, that works.
Wait, hold on. Cormac, you said you had a nickname, right?
Yes, it was Redgrave, which was a place back where which was a town back where I was from.
All right. Did you get into a lot of prison fights?
Not a handful. I'm gonna say definitely more than one. I was a guy in prison who, as I said earlier, I kept my head down, but there were a few people who did pick fights with me, and Cormac would always, if he did get dragged into a fight, would always go 110% in it. He wouldn't fight to defend himself. If someone threatened him, he would just go as hard as he could on them. Fight to kill if,
Okay.
yeah.
Have
He
you
didn't
told us
start
your nickname?
fights. I'm gonna say you guys probably, if he didn't say it himself, it was probably circulated. So you would probably know me just as well as Redgrave as Cormac.
All right.
But Cormac doesn't refer to himself as Redgrave. There might have been a few. The country I came from was Hibernia, because Fantasy Island. So, if there were any other Hibernians in there, they might have said, because, you know, maybe it might be a regional accent thing, that they would have started the nickname, perhaps, and circulated it that way.
Okay. I think Elliot, like, as he notices you spitting on him, says, must have been one of the people you sent my way.
Oh, we clearly have different thoughts on the guy. He tried to stab me.
I shrug, say, well, he's dead now, it doesn't matter, but I saved his life once.
Good on you.
Actually, you actually probably don't know my name, but you would know the nickname, Bleeder.
Okay, should we retcon a scene earlier on where I flicked my fingers and, like, had to remember you?
Yeah.
That's another point. I've been using first names. You guys would probably know each other's last names much more than you would know first names.
That's the thing. You only know my last name because I'm just yeah, Cormac or Red. That's a fair point. Yeah, Margrave.
But you would try and remember
Loomis.
Loomis before you would remember Elliot.
True.
Yeah.
So
if you were
informal.
if you were in enough fights, you've seen me. Elliot has the nickname the Bleeder because he runs basically a makeshift doctor's office out of his cell.
Okay. So
if you got roughed up and needed patching and you didn't need the guards to know, you probably made your way to my place once or twice.
okay then. So yeah, I think less words would have needed to be exchanged then if you like closed his eyes and I just spat on him. I think there might have been a bit more of an just an unsaid understanding of the dynamic there.
Yeah.
Like I would know, yeah, you patched them up, but this is a guy who tried to kill me at some point, so I haven't got much respect for him.
I think Magnus just watches on with a sort of quaint smile. Very sort of, not really much of an explanation for him to be smiling, but he's just sort of smiling as it goes on.
Creepy doctor.
Alright.
And that was just one of the corpses.
Yeah. So on your way to the prison guard, there is another prisoner. This one you can't make out who it is. They're lying in the mud, but their whole top half has been completely covered in mud. Only their legs are hanging out. They have one boot on and the other foot is barefoot.
Do we know if he's dead?
It's a pretty
His
good guess.
upper half is buried in mud. I'd be impressed if he's alive.
Yeah, but now you're gonna roll the con roll and be like, whoops, he is alive. And you know what? He stabs you in the throat.
I should have played the mastermind and just reveal that was me all along. But,
It was me, Austin!
I mean, here's the thing. My character isn't against rooting through corpses, but he also would want to do it when he's got free range of motion.
There's something that has a higher priority at this point in time.
Alright. Actually, you know what? Each of you roll a D. No, except for, Elliot, roll a D2. Everyone else roll a D3.
Flipping coins.
Cormac, you have no shoes left.
I have
Magnus,
no shoes
you have
left.
one. Elliot, you have one.
I'm just gonna say, I have no shoes left. That's Cormac's first country blues album.
That's good. That's good.
Shoes.
I'll let you decide. I'll let you
no,
decide.
it's here's the name of your album. Ain't got no shoes, but full of soul.
Oh. Oh.
I like it.
That's perfect.
All right, so I'll let you guys decide. Is it your right shoe or left shoe? Obviously not Cormac, but you know, Loomis and what's that? Margrave, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
Margrave.
Yeah.
Margrave
I have
and
my-
Loomis.
I have my right shoe.
Right shoe.
I have my left shoe.
Left shoe. Okay, Margrave. That is his so the prisoner who's lying in the mud, his right boot is still on. His left one is missing, but his right boot is there. Well, I say that to all of you. That's probably the most of our, I don't know, maybe Cormac wants to even things out.
I mean, I mean, my first thought was just turning to both of them and say, "Give me one shoe."
Don't you think we've got something more higher priority than getting shoes?
All right, you can just be 1 foot there walking with a limp. All right.
I think when he says that, I'm like, Loomis says, "Well, hold on a minute. Do you know how many things you can contract through your feet? You might know how disgusting this is right now. Look, if you ain't taking that shoe, I am."
I'm just gonna, don't want to push the issue, but I've got no shoes.
Oh, right. Here, this is yours.
Cormac kind of like leans down to take the shoe off and just announces, "This is the worst thing I've had to do in my career."
Hey! 3-legged race. You can all keep 1 foot off the ground.
If we go in a circle and hop, we have 3 legs.
Okay, so as you take that boot off, you see a strange tattoo on the bottom of this prisoner's foot. It almost looks like some sort of weird eye drawing, but it has a triangle in the middle instead of a circle for the pupil. No lashes or anything. You're not sure exactly what it is. You've never seen anything like it before.
So, okay.
Well, maybe you've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, I was about to say, that sounded like you were shutting down a spout law real quick.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Should I roll?
No, you can if you want. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been in this land a little bit.
All right.
What an interesting place for a tattoo.
Okay. See, I have 2 things. I had 1 thing prepared. Now this is hard.
You can just tell us one thing. I'll count it as
Okay. Okay. One of the guards at one point, like you saw, you know, lifting stuff, you saw his shirt sort of stripped away for a bit, and you saw a guard with that same tattoo over his left shoulder.
Ooh. So this thing isn't just a prisoner thing. This is a little bit of an everyone thing. I just kind of offhandedly, just as I see that, put my hand to my chin. Well, if I have the range of motion to do that, and just kind of say, not under my breath, just kind of like speaking to myself out loud. Oh, one of the guards had one of these.
Interesting stuff. Do you do anything further with this body, or do you move on?
For the moment,
I think we move on.
Yeah, I got the shoe. That's. Also, keeping a roguelike tracker of the number of shoes on each foot.
Yeah.
Did we dig around in the mud, see if he had a 6-piece or something?
This
Well,
isn't
the guard
this
is
the guard.
next.
Yeah.
Oh, this isn't the guard. Okay.
Yeah, this is the other. This was the prisoner who was drowned.
3 feet under.
All right.
Curious. I wonder how these guys got out of their chains.
Well, you don't see the other one. You can't see his top half with the actually, that's a point. You see his legs are sticking out, but you do see he still has the ankle shackles. The chains just go straight down into the mud. You don't see if they're connected to anything. The other guy, we'll add in an extra grisly detail on the other one. So his ankle chains were still on, but the physical chain links themselves were broken. And as for his right chain, the chain goes on a bit before being broken, and you see like the lower part of an arm ripped off below the elbow, still connected.
Nice.
Ooh.
Ouchies.
Yeah, ouchies. This guy you can't tell. But so, you approach the guard lying face down on the bank, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Let's roll something. All right. So yeah, you approach the guard. He's slumped over. You can't really see. He's leaning down onto his right side. His arms are tucked underneath him. You can't quite see if he had what he has on him immediately. You can't see his face either at the moment. What do you do?
I say let's start looking, see if he does happen to have keys on him. He wasn't our guard, unless because that's the honor cross. Unless I'm mistaken about something, he may have been our transport.
That was the one in the no. Well, all of the guards are from your truck, obviously.
Oh, okay.
Everyone would be from your truck.
I mean, I don't know how far people got flung, so But yeah, I'm just gonna say. So I say we just search
okay,
his
no, but
belongings.
like if you're looking closer, we'll say no. I'm not gonna call which guard he was yet. We'll roll for that if it comes to it.
I mean, we do know that he had a 6-shooter from your earlier description. So
Yes.
I don't go for the 6-shooter right away. I'm more concerned about keys or ways to get these shackles off.
Well, so for just start patting him down, just start pawing around.
Pretty much.
Give him a sort of a cursory glance over first to see if there's anything obvious, like a bulging pocket or something.
I mean, just assuming out of character that in world Cormac would go for something like that first, and then works way from the most likely place to the least likely place.
Just not checking to see if he's even alive or not. Okay.
Hey, it's better if he.
Well, no, that's why I'm looking from a distance first before I put.
No, I mean, no, he is dead. Once you start searching him, you guys rolled lucky on that one, but
that would be interesting.
So the first thing you can see is on his left pocket. You do see a bulge in his left pocket.
And he is happy to see you.
But on searching that, you find his wallet. Someone roll D20.
Me.
Ooh, 15. You find $15 in. Actually, no, that's a lot. You find $1.50 in his wallet.
Wow, that's a. Well, how can I?
No, keep in mind.
I know.
What kind of economy are we running here? Like.
I will say 10 cents is about the equivalent to like 1 gold normally. Like 10 cents will get you a meal.
Well, can I just say I've got into denominations that I do actually split it 3 ways.
So you each get 50 cents.
I mean, I do crack a bit of a joke about it. Just say this is hush money. You ain't telling him I do this, right? And then I get back to searching.
I have a problem here.
All right, so you also get his badge, and his ID, which the paper is pretty soaked. Most of the details have run off, but his name is Silas Hunter.
Nice.
Yeah. But so you have a badge. You have 50 cents each. Oh, here's a question. Or no, never mind. We're not going to go into denominations. I'll just let you guys have 50 cents each.
In some monetary form or other.
Yeah, we're not gonna like sweat, splitting bills. That's a headache I don't want to deal with. So yeah, you roll him over.
Yeah.
Roll
him over.
Yeah, just roll a 2d6.
This is how many times he rolls. 2d6, did you say?
Yeah. If you're the one rolling him over. Ooh, 4. Heartbreaking luck. As you roll him over, his holster appears to be empty. His gun must have washed away.
Darn.
So, do you want to search the immediate area around the thing? Do you want to try and ford the river?
So there's like nothing else on him, no keys or anything.
No, there are no keys on him. Oh, you do see though that this was the guard who had the shotgun, so he would not have had the keys to you. Only the guard that was in the truck had the keys.